Not too long ago in Standard, there were a whole bunch of awesome Simic aggro lists that were a ton of fun to play. They were playing cards like the Azure Beastbinder, the Genomorph Imago, and of course Jackal, also known as Drunith. But as new sets released, these decks kind of got pushed to the side for more powerful strategies. However, in today's video, I'm going to try to relive some of that glory, and we got ourselves a Simic aggro flash list that is going to be a ton of fun to play. So we're going to talk a little bit about the deck and then hop into some games as usual. And I guess we have to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Yes, Land of War Elves, Gene Pollinator, Badgermole Cub, and Ouroboroid. They are in the deck because they are powerful. This is the core of so many decks. However, the rest of the deck is running a really awesome kind of strategy. So in the one slot, I'm going with the Ambitious Augmenter. I'm going with this one over the Paw Patch Recruit because Paw Patch Recruit is going to be a card that's going to be rotating in 2027. The Ambitious Augmenter is going to probably be a pretty good replacement for the Paw Patch Recruit overall because it gets out of control very quickly. It has increment. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when it does die, it's going to leave back a fractal body. So I think this card's awesome. Want to play it a little bit more in some of my decks. But the real beauty of this deck is going to come in with the flash creatures and the control side of things. We are playing 3 copies of We Say Thee Nay, a very powerful counterspell from the new Marvel Superheroes set. This thing is going to be counter target spell unless the opponent pays 2 or pays 4 if we cast it with Teamwork, and it's Teamwork 2, which works very well with our Wondrous Wasp, our Plumecreed Escort, and our Floodpits Drowner, all cards that have flash and have 2 power. Additionally, we're playing Repulsive Mutation. I absolutely love this counterspell. Now, this thing is going to be rotating, but I'm going to be playing it until it happens. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, then counter up to 1 target spell unless its controller pays mana equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. So often we can just cast this for a green and a blue, X0, and it's going to be like counter target spell unless your opponent pays 2. But if we have something a little bit more powerful on the field, let's say we have a Surrak on the field, that's going to be pay 4. Maybe we have an Ouroboroid on the field pumping up our team. Well, it's going to be, who knows, pay, it could be any number at that point. But if we do have a little bit of mana to dump into the Repulsive Mutation, it can be used as a pump spell. It can be used as a very powerful counter spell. It can be used so many different ways, and I think the flexibility of this card is just fantastic. In the 3 slot, we do have Sky Coach Conductor, a pretty sweet flash creature, 2/3 flying vigilance. The vigilance with the 2 power does work very well with We Say Thee Nay. And then it comes with the all aboard prepared side of the card that allows us to bounce something like a Wondrous Wasp, a Floodpits Drowner, what have you. We can protect something or just use something that has a very powerful ETB. Tishana's Tidebinder, just 1 copy of it. I kind of debated going up to 2 copies of it because it could be good to blow out like a Kavaro player or a Superior Spider-Man as it's now known as. But this thing is going to counter some activated or triggered abilities when it's flashed in. 2 copies of Surrak because Surrak is very powerful, helps us draw some cards, also can't be countered. And that is the list. So unfortunately, we are not playing some of these golden cards, the Azure Beastbinder, the Imago, or unfortunately, very unfortunately, Drunith, also known now as Jackal, whatever you want to say. But we are playing a whole bunch of other powerful cards that are sure to give our opponents a lot of trouble. So we're going to hop into some games and see if this Simic aggro list can hold up to what's currently in Standard. See you over there. All right, Simic aggro in Standard, trying to relive some of the glory that we used to have. Some of the, man, this card, Repulsive Mutation. I have a couple of videos where I definitely played this card to great effect. I'm just a big old fan of this card. And we get double Augmenter, triple Augmenter, which is making me think maybe I want to go out 2 Augmenters next turn and then Badgermole Cub. That would leave me with 3 2/2s and the Repulsive Mutation available to me. I don't hate that idea. Now, I don't know what this opponent's doing with Mindspring Merfolk. Okay, they're just doing Merfolk stuff. Silver Gill Mentor. Wow. Okay, so let's stick to the plan of going, Augmenter into Badgermole Cub, Repulsive Mutation on the following turn, and then we also have the Sky Coach Conductor that can pump up these one more time. If you're not familiar with increment, whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana you cast is greater than the creature's toughness or power, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So the Sky Coach Conductor is going to trigger the 2/2 augmenters, putting them up to 3/3s. Does the second Badgermole Cub change things? I don't think so. Now, they held up a lot of mana. They have 4 mana available to them. Please let Badgermole Cub resolve. Okay. Please let this ability resolve so I have my Repulsive Mutation. Okay, we have Repulsive Mutation online right now. I don't want to be too greedy and cast out the other Badgermole Cub because I really suspect that this might come in handy right now. I feel like they're gearing up to do a crescendo or something like that to draw a bunch of cards. And I really don't want them doing that. So, nope, they're just doing the exhaust on the Mind Spring Merfolk. Interesting. Draw 1. Adept Water Shaper. Other tap creatures you control have indestructible. Is this a good enough time to do this? This counter, unless they pay 2, they can pay 1. Yeah, fine. Put it there. Let's get rid of the Adept Merfolk. I don't want them having too many Merfolk on the field, and them getting indestructible seems good. Maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I could have left this on the field, but it's a 3/4. It's a little hard to attack through, especially since we're going to be getting 3/3 ambitious augmenters soon. Oh, they had the land. They could have paid for our Repulsive Mutation if they had put out that island. And Sheltered by Ghost. So they get rid of our Badgermole Cub, which is fine. Wondrous Wasp, kind of cool. So from here, we can't really do Badgermole Cub plus Sky Coach, but what we could do is Wondrous Wasp Badgermole Cub. And that sets me up maybe next turn for a little bit more oomph. But I also kind of just want to get my ambitious augment a little bit bigger. Let's attack in with the augmenters and see what the opponent ends up doing here. If they block, they block 1. Okay. I think I'm fine putting them up to 3/3s, getting rid of this 2/2 and adding or putting 6 damage on the opponent's face. Now I have a pretty beefy board. The Sky Coach Conductor can actually do some pretty fun stuff with the Badgermole Cub. Also with the Wondrous Wasp, we can kind of tap down their entire board. And they don't seem to have too much going on. Okay. So this thing does have Ward 2, so I can't do much about that. Is it just attack in? I think so. Let's bring the heat. 11 damage in on the opponent. Are they going to block with the Mentor to trade something off? They don't. Okay. So I suppose from this spot, it's just put down our second Badgermole Cub, hold up the Wondrous Wasp, or the Ouroboroid. Probably it's going to be Wondrous Wasp to tap down one of their blockers, and they're at 7 life, kind of, with the lifelink, or, okay, a little bit more, 8 life now, with the Silvergill Mentor here. And they come in, that's fine. They just are desperate to draw a card off of Atuma. We let the damage happen. It's fine. Who cares about 5 damage? And do they have a follow-up with the 2 cards that they have in hand? They might have to tap down one of their other Merfolk to put another blocker on the field. But what we have is... oh, that's unfortunate. With the way the mana tapped, they tapped down both of their white sources, so they had to tap down the Atuma to be able to put out the Wanderbrine Trapper. And now with the Ouroboroid, we can... is there even any point in doing it to tap it down? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's what we want to be doing. We want to be kind of controlling what the opponent's blockers look like with our Merfolk that taps down something. I'm forgetting the name. And also the Wondrous Wasp. Then you flash something with the Ouroboroid and you tap down again. And then we could have attacked in cleanly for... how much damage were we bringing? 9, 14, 15, 16? That's a pretty good attack, considering we don't have the Ouroboroid on the field. Pretty awesome to see somebody running Merfolk, though. One of the tribes that I think it's obviously received enough support recently. Whoa, talk about Verge Punish. Holy cow. This hand would be absolutely insane if we didn't have 3 Willow Rush Verges in our opening hand. All right, this looks fine. So do we want to keep the We Say the Nay as a counterspell? Yeah, probably better than the Wasp. Pretty good draw with the Breeding Pool. It gives us some play for the future. Yeah, Merfolk. Want to see more Merfolk for sure. Okie dokie. So from here, we actually have quite a few options with the Badgermole Cub. Now this Xenomorph, or I don't know why I want to call him Xenomorph. I do know why, because I talked about the Xenomorph Mago in the intro. This allows us to hold up the We Say the Nay or the Plumecreed Escort, depending on what the opponent does here. Starcage Pinnacle. We can get rid of Pinnacle. Yeah. Did I mess it up? It's on, literally on the stack, and I messed up its name. Yeah. Genius. And the Ouroboroid, a pretty good draw for us, because if they end up having another Pinnacle Starcage, we still leave behind the Ouroboroid. I'm going to leave up the Plumecreed Escort just in case they have a Perilous Snare for the Ouroboroid, and that should be like the blowout, right? So Cryogen Relic, don't care about it. We have enough mana next turn to... Oh, okay. So what? They're gonna go after Badgie here. Let's do it. Let's save Badgermole Cub because it's another 5 points of damage for us, and it just... Okay. Opponent says good game, and that is why I absolutely love Plumecreed Escort and why I love We Say the Nay. I should be saying it with more emphasis. I was told, at least. Pretty good. Beating down artifacts, Jeskai artifacts, a deck that nobody likes, so yay. I should say, a deck that nobody likes, except for me, apparently. I'm the only fan of that deck, it seems. Okay, well, we don't have our turn 1 mana dork, which was that last game. Let's not BS, right? The last game went very well because we had Badgermole Cub after a turn 1 mana dork. And when you have that, things tend to go a little bit smoothly for you. Okay, this might mean that they have a Burst Lightning waiting for us. So we could go a little bit slower and go with the Plumecreed Escort. And next turn, if we end up finding the... Next turn, if we end up finding another land, we can do Badgermole Cub plus hold up some kind of removal. I could also just put the Pollinator on the field. Yeah, sure. Let's go Pollinator. I'm going to go a little bit slowly just because I know my opponent is probably on a Burst Lightning deck. And Burst Lightning means that the Badgermole Cub, I kind of want to have 3-4 mana available. We miss on that. But it's okay. It's a little not okay because this Slickshot Show-Off could literally represent me dying on the following turn. But we'll attack in for 2, take them down to 17. We'll hold up the Plumecreed Escort with the Badgermole Cub Gene Pollinator combo. And if we get into a spot where they pump up this Slickshot Show-Off, at the very worst, what I can do is I can go in with the... I was going to say I can go in with the Plumecreed Escort to block something. But now with the trample on the Slickshot Show-Off, that's not really going to be the case. However, we do have the Repulsive Mutation still available to us, so we could counter a Fling. No Fling. Okay, what we want to see from the opponent or our deck is a land. Please land. It's not the worst, but it's not what I really wanted. I don't really want to go down too vulnerable here. I really am scared of the opponent just absolutely slamming my face in on the next turn. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it a little bit slowly. Hold up the... I guess I'm only holding up one thing here. I'm only holding up the Repulsive Mutation probably because we only have one blue source. And I don't think I could have tapped my mana differently. What I needed to do a long time ago was the Badgermole Cub needed to animate the Botanical Sanctum, not the forest. So they're still digging. This Slickshot Show-Off is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But we do have a good backswing, and they seem to be struggling on land. So we'll take the 5 damage. Or is it a little bit more, opponent? No. Try to go after my Badgermole Cub, please. Ah, man. Okay. Because they're not going after the Badgermole Cub, are they there's no way they're holding up Burst Lightning, right? So let's think about this. If I put out the Plumecreed Escort, they do nothing. I'm going to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 damage, plus the Ouroboroid next turn, which will tap down these 2 things. Is it not enough damage? It'll be 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It'll be 13 points of damage if they don't have the Burst Lightning if I put out the Plumecreed Escort. But I do go shields down. Okay, I'm going to take the risk. Plumecreed Escort to the field. Tapping down this. This also pumps up the Ambitious Augmenter, and the Ouroboroid is going to pump it up. So as long as our Badgermole Cub survives this turn, we're kind of okay. I'm going to feign. Okay, good. Ambitious Augmenter gets the Hexproof buff. Whoa. Oh, lordy. Oh, lordy. It's perfect. Okay. Ouroboroid, they didn't have anything. And now we're holding up the Repulsive Mutation. Did I miscount my damage somewhere? I think I did miscount my damage. This pumps up the team. How much damage is coming in? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. More than enough. And they would have to kill multiple things. Maybe I shouldn't have swung with the... I should not have swung with the Gene Pollinator. That was dumb. But they need to do so much work. There's no way they have enough... It didn't really matter. With them with 1 mana, it would have been fine. But the smartest play would have been not to swing all out, just in case they have some weird miracle. I suppose they could have had a Flash creature, which probably doesn't really exist, to stop one of the Ambitious Augmenters, and that would have left me in a pretty vulnerable spot. Anyways, Gene Pollinator should not have attacked. It should have stayed up so that I could tap down the Ouroboroid to do the Repulsive Mutation to stop the disaster. I've asked it before. I'm going to ask it again. How far do you suspect the Badgermole Cub goes in Standard? Is it gonna keep dodging bans? Okay, this hand, we go turn 1 Gene Pollinator, and then what, it's just bad hand, right? We don't have blue mana for these 2 cards. We can't actually get the Surrak out on turn 2 because Gene Pollinator doesn't have anything to tap down. It's just kind of bad. So throw it away. It's also not great, but it's better than, I think, the last hand, and it allows us to draw into good stuff. So these Ambitious Augmenters are going to have to do a lot of work for us. We're going to lead... Well, okay. Badgermole Cub surely helps us. And if we end up finding a 2 CMC counterspell or protection spell, we could be in pretty good shape. That's fine. So their shock goes on that, and they're playing the Fugitive Codebreaker, a card that probably doesn't get as much appreciation as it probably needs to get. This thing's pretty cool. 2-1 for 2 with Prowess and Haste. It has Prowess, after all, but nobody runs it. It's just overshadowed by the Emberheart Challenger, I suppose, because Emberheart Challenger is just better. But this is a lot of damage they're putting on my face. They are down to 2 cards, though, and we do have Badgermole Cub and Protection. Nope. So just a Badgermole Cub. Let's put the 1/1 onto the Willow Rush Verge. If I need to chump block with the Badgermole Cub's land here, I guess I can do that. Are they going to take out the Badgie? All of their spells going on creatures instead of going on face. And you know what? I'm not too upset that these spells were used to remove our creatures. From here, another one. Wow. Okay. But, I mean, the opponent's got to be out of gas pretty soon, pretty much out of gas. And we get to go next turn Island into Ouroboroid. Now they are empty-handed, but we're at 4. But they're going to have to deal with this Ouroboroid and now the Badgermole Cub. That doesn't work. So we just put out the Ouroboroid, a 2/4 onto the field. If they draw land here, then we go out Badgermole Cub, and it's over. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there's really much they can do now. I say that they could draw burn, because we are at a pretty vulnerable spot right now. Do I need to start attacking in? Probably. Probably with both. So what's the worst case that could happen here? They draw a hasty creature. They come in. No, they draw a burn spell. It goes up to a 3/3. I block with the Badgermole Cub. It's fine. I need to put as much damage on the opponent as I possibly can. Hope they draw dead one more time. I don't think there's like a single spell that's 4 damage from the opponent that is normally played. I suppose they could have Hellkite. Nova Hellkite would be pretty cool. Okay, well, maybe. Wow. We sustained at the very end 4 life, and the red player just ran out of steam. And that's, you know, when you are playing red, I don't think people give aggro decks, burn decks, prowess decks enough credit. You have to make very wise choices with where you put things like Burst Lightning and Shock. Yes, removing the creatures definitely puts me behind, but it also puts off your damage clock. And had the opponent maybe been a little bit slower with how they were removing my creatures, like they were pretty fast to fire off those spells to remove the ambitious augmenters. And of course, yeah, these get big pretty quickly, but you have enough time. You're at 20 life. It's a lot trickier to play than people give it credit, because it seems like, yeah, you just blast the opponent and they die, but it doesn't always go that way. All right, so far the Simic aggro list coming out of the gate, performing pretty well. It was performing well in testing as well. I mean, how could it not? It's playing these cards, right? Opening hand is putting me a little bit to the test, though. With what we have, we don't really have a lot of oomph. Obviously, it's a pretty good hand, but we need to find maybe a Surok or... Surok, or possibly... What else do we want to see? A Ouroboroid. Of course, it's always going to be Badgermole Cub into Ouroboroid, please and thank you. The opponent has the Clayfire Brick, so we are again against an opponent who is on artifacts, which means that actually these cards are pretty insane. So we'll put out our Badgermole Cub. We're not attacking in with the Gene Pollinator. This time we are going to... It actually doesn't matter. Island is a find reanimation thing, because what this does is it gives me 1 green, 1 blue mana for some of my multicolored spells. And now we just have to make sure to stop any of their dirty stuff, and then we just start chipping away at them, and I think probably we're going to be able to control this game pretty comfortably. That's good. Do I... okay, so next turn, I think it's fine. I don't care if they gain a little bit of life. Just, it's going to be 1 life here. Floodpits Drowner is kind of good. So let's put the second Badgermole Cub onto the field. It's going to be tapped, but we now have this mana available to us to use for Repulsive Mutation, or We Say Thee Nay. So do I want to get in for 3 points of damage? Yes. I don't expect the opponent to be able to cast 2 devastating spells on the next turn, so holding up the Willow Rush Verge for either of these is going to be enough. They're going to have at most 4 mana. Their scary things are at 3 mana, so they can't even get past the We Say Thee Nay. And they desperately tap down our island to draw a card. Did they miss on their land? There's their land. Floodpits Drowner onto the field is okay. Again, it gains them a life, but we get that life back next turn with the Drowner attack. And Surok is good. How much mana do we have? We have 5 mana available to us if I don't attack with these. So let's just get in for... Yeah. Get in like this. Do I want to put Surok onto the field? Surok on the field means I'm down to 1 card. 1 counterspell. Otherwise, I can have 2 counterspells up. It's just fine. It's fine, right? Oh, I don't need to tap that. Right, hang on. I'm forgetting how much mana I actually have because I have 2 Badgermole Cubs. Yes. Okay. This is better than I thought. I'm dumb. I always forget when you get multiple Badgermole Cubs on the field that it obviously results in so much more mana. But I mean, that's just Badgermole Cub. Usually when you get 2 on the field, the games kind of end a little bit quicker than you may imagine. So, you know, maybe you don't always get to the point where you're doing that kind of stuff. So we got to deal with this. Let's tap this down for blue. That makes a blue and a green, and we're gonna do this for X0. X0. Confirm. I always have to be careful with how I tap these things. Once in a while, your repulsive mutation doesn't work out the way that you imagined it working out, and you end up messing up with it. Okay, we need to hold back some things because I want to be able to cast out both of these We Say Thee Nay on the following turn. So just attack in for this. Not miss lethal damage, thankfully. And now, yeah, this is what you imagine. When you play a deck like this, you're just like, okay, I got a good board. I got a good field. The opponent really can't do anything because I just have the counter spell magic backup. We do this. It's the easiest teamwork of my life. A4. No, We Say Thee Nay. Thor and... Oh, and you find the Tishana's Tidebinder off the top. The one of Tishana's Tidebinder to really seal it. And isn't... Against a deck that I think a lot of people would say is a very oppressive feeling deck. Your artifact deck has so many tools to deal with creatures. We were the oppressive deck in this matchup. Your Authority of the Consuls means nothing. Oh boy. All right, Mob Boss 67. They sent the boss to slow me down. Things have been rolling too well. However, the boss is going to have a hard time when we have the combo. Llanowar Elf into Badgermole Cub into Ouroboroid against a mono black opponent. No Requiting Hex on turn 1. Nowhere to run. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So maybe we slow our roll a little bit. Yeah. Okay. We see the line. Do you see the line? I see the line. Just slam the mana dorks. And then, well, if the opponent doesn't have a way of dealing with both of these, if they put out like an Unholy Annex here, things would have gotten real bad for the opponent. Unfortunately, we didn't find our land, so we probably need to go a little bit slowly here. But we do have now Plumecreed. Our mana base is a little bit awkward because we actually don't have enough to cast all of our blue spells. Should I have tapped? Maybe what I should have done, okay. Still a noob, I guess. What I should have done was the Llanowar Elf. Tapped to put out the Badgermole Cub. That would have been the correct play. Okay, so they are almost 100% holding up Devious Cover-Up, right? So if I do this, I hold up so much. Yeah. I can do 2 of these spells. We can stop a Devious Cover-Up. We can stop whatever we want. And I can attack in this time with the Badgermole Cub. It's fine. Bitter Triumph? Sure. Let's do Gene Pollinator, tap down this. We're going big dog. We're assuming that the opponent is just sitting on a deep fudge. Oh, fudge. I didn't see the Nowhere to Run. The opponent also early GG'd me there. Did you happen to see that early GG? No. Opponent, no. I say no. So we want to hold up Repulsive Mutation, and we also want to put out Surrak, I think. I need to do that. So I need to hold up a little bit here. We're going to attack in for 2, 4, 5. And then we have lethal on the following turn, probably. Okay, Surrak onto the field. And then we hold the Botanical Sanctum and the breeding pool for the repulsive mutation X1, they have to pay 5. It's probably fine. Do they have a follow-up deadly cover-up? Apparently, I was misspeaking on this one. The opponent with the GG. They did the early GG earlier. We say GG to them this time around. And I wouldn't normally do that. We draw another repulsive mutation. Oh, man. You gotta... Okay. You gotta love when you see it unfold like that. We obviously... I shouldn't be using the collective. I fumbled with the Plumecreed Escort, completely forgetting that the Nowhere to Run was on the field. My bad. Don't forget about your Nowhere to Run. We only have 6 more months of not being able to give our creatures hexproof. This thing's going to disappear eventually. But we ended up having enough counter magic to survive 2 deadly cover-ups. Was I calling it devious cover-up? Okay. Game number 7. And we have a weird looking opening hand. We have our Mana Dork. We have our control. The opponent has mulligan. I think we keep it. Although we don't have a ton of power here. The opponent is dropping out of 5 cards. We have the early Llanowar Elf with protection. If we find Surok or a Badgermole Cub, something like that, or even some of our 2-drops with Flash, then we can just hold them off and start tapping down, controlling the big stuff that they play, swinging in for 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, something like this. Oh, Cecil? Intimidation tactics to take our turn 1 Llanowar Elf, I'm sure. Maybe not. They might take the... Okay. I was going to say, if they have removal in hand, maybe they opt to take the Skycoach Conductor, allow us to put out the Llanowar Elf, and then blast it with whatever. The Wondrous Wasp was actually not a horrible draw. So now what we can do is hold up the We Say Thee Nay to stop like an Unholy Annex. To stop the Deceit. Do I stop the Deceit? Yes. Because they're going to take something anyways. I would rather control what they take. Oh, man. So, if I put out the Wondrous Wasp, they're going to take one of the counter spells. Because I'm sure that this is a Kavaro list, right? Okay. Let's let it happen. Let's let it happen. And I do want to have the Wondrous Wasp on the field, so I'm going to flash it in. Submit 0. It doesn't matter. It's going to disappear. I don't think I can remove these from the stack, unfortunately. And I assume that they're going to take one of the counter spells here. If they end up taking the Skycoach Conductor, though, that'll be a... No, they got to take one of the counter spells, right? Yeah. Ambitious Augmenter is good. Do I want to put it out now? Probably. And then we have the We Say Thee Nay as a counter to whatever big thing they put out here. But I probably want to hold up the We Say Thee Nay for the turn 4 Kavaro Superior Spider-Man. Man, I really wish they never did the Through the Ormond's Path, because now I just have to keep thinking about that. They just bounce something? That's fine. Why did they go with the bounce this time around? They're bouncing the Wondrous Wasp? They bounce the Ambitious Augmenter? It doesn't make any sense. The opponent says GG. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, buddy. So yeah, we just return this to the field. I think they must have mistapped their mana there, because there was no reason for them to go with the bounce, not the hand disruption, right? That doesn't make any sense. Requiting Hex. Sure. It's not worth saving the Wasp. And we just put our Skycoach onto the field. It goes up to a 2-2. The Augmenter goes up to a 2-2. And now we also have the land that can attack in. We hold up the We Say Thee Nay. We have a 3-turn clock. Okay. Do we have a faster clock? What if I bounced the Badgermole Cub and animated another one of my lands? They have the Quantum Riddler. Ooh, that's 7 games in a row with this Simic aggro list. We are, I don't know if I've ever broken this high. Usually I don't, definitely don't climb this high. So Simic aggro, turns out, did you all know Badgermole Cub's a pretty good card? Not good enough to keep though. This hand looks okay. We are being tested though. Do we throw away a land? I don't like throwing away lands, but I think that's probably what I actually have to do here. We have the Llanowar Elf into the Badgermole Cub into protection for the Badgermole Cub 2 different ways, and the opponent is on Azorius. Is it a control list? It feels like a control list to me. So we got to put this out, tap, untapped. Badgermole Cub hopefully resolves. Oh man, okay, so we ran into the hard control. Let's see if our modest counterspells can be enough to stop this opponent's no attack. You know what? I'm just gonna put out a Plumecreed Escort, hold up the We Say Thee Nay, and also the Plumecreed Escort number 2. We'll see what they're gonna do with this High Noon. Okay. Spyglass Siren is actually kind of annoying because the Spyglass Siren blocks my Plumecreed Escorts really well. They found a land. Very beautiful land. Let's run it out. Let's get 2 of them onto the board. And if we end up finding the not Badgermole Cub, Ouroboroid, we could be in pretty good shape. We didn't though. But what we did find is the Floodpits Drowner. And the Floodpits Drowner to counter the Spyglass Siren is maybe okay. Tap it down. Personify. That sucks. Alright. Let's go in. We got to go through the Spyglass Siren one way or another. So we're going to try it. We're going to hold up the We Say Thee Nay. I don't like where we are in this one. We're down to 1 card. The opponent has the High Noon on the field. And okay, thankfully they missed there. We got a bunch of X1s, which their 1/1 shapeshifter just absolutely dominates. But we do get to get in with the Plumecreed Escort and maybe counter an Ang here, or oh no, okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Floodpits Drowner, tap down the Restless Anchorage. And we can get in for 2, hold up the We Say Thee Nay, and keep their land tapped. That's kind of cool. We need a little bit of help, though. Again, this 1/1 shapeshifter is giving me a surprising amount of trouble here. But we do have a We Say Thee Nay that we can teamwork to really slow down the opponent. And the repulsive mutation... Okay. Do we just go? I think I need to make a clock on this opponent. They don't have the Restless Anchorage right now. This would be giving up my Floodpits Drowner. Sure. So we just hold up 1 of these counter spells for the next turn. We have 5 damage where we got like a 2-turn clock on board against them. It's not great. I guess we load up this repulsive mutation like we kick it. There's no reason not to do that. And do I put this onto... Yeah, let's put it on the flyer. Wait. They can't do anything else this turn except turn on their Restless Anchorage. Oh yeah, they can just... Duh. What am I saying? Of course they have enough mana to counter it. It's not... We've had the opponent so under our thumb that I kind of forgot that, yeah, they can just, like, pay? I suppose. But the Wondrous Wasp comes in and absolutely saves my butt here. And we have the We Say Thee Nay as the backup to maybe something. Of course, they can pay. We've just learned that the Repulsive Mutation and We Say Thee Nay are not completely foolproof, especially when your opponent has made 8 land drops to your 4. But they're going to have to do a lot of work here. The Sky Coach Conductor, we do it, I think. We Say Thee Nay, tap down Wasp, it doesn't matter, and they have to pay the full 4. That leaves us with a pretty good board. Yeah, they can definitely pay it, get the Sky Coach, and they can still have the bounce spell available to them on the following turn, but they only have 1 mana, and we do have enough damage skirting around. Okay, we attack and hope that they don't have a bounce spell. If they do have a bounce spell, do it now, please. We got through a high noon deck. I didn't think that was going to happen, and I think, whoo, that is about as good a performance as we're going to get out of this Simic deck. All right, I gotta say, things running pretty well with this deck. It feels like a well-oiled machine to me, and looking over at my untapped stats, I'm pretty sure the only time I've lost is I faced a mono red deck at one point, and I did drop 1 game. So I'm currently 12-1 with this deck. I usually don't bring up the stats, but this deck has been pumping along nicely. The only time I did lose was to that, like I said, mono red. It's a Rakdos red, but it's a mono red deck, and it was a close game. I had them down to 1 life. They had me down to 1 life, and it was just like they had the burst lightning to end the game. So 100% on the draw, 75% on the play, winning a lot on the draw, and just the deck feels good. Obviously, it feels good because of something I've talked about in the past. When you have your turn 1 mana dork into your turn 2 Badgermole Cub, you want to have powerful turn 2 plays available to you, and that was kind of the ambition or the building route when I was making this deck, putting it together. I wanted to have some awesome 2 CMC stuff, and that's why I started thinking about this deck. We have so many powerful things at 2 mana. We can protect our creatures, we can tap down their creatures, we can just counter the big spells. Everything in the 2 slot is just so good. And then when you get up to the 3 and the 4 slot, because you do eventually have enough mana, yeah, it just kind of, you take over the game. And that's what we were seeing in those matchups. So very, very happy with how this one performed. Let me know what you think about the construction of the deck. There are a lot of 2 CMC cards that could slot into some of these slots, instead of some of these cards. So I would like to hear some of your opinions, what you might make, or some changes that you might make. Stumbling over my words at the end. As far as like rotation, looking forward to the future of this deck, we are losing a couple of key cards when stuff starts going the way of the Dodo in 2027. So we will lose some key stuff, but we will keep a pretty good core. Obviously, the main core being the Badgermole Cub Mana Dork into Ouroboroid core, but some of the protections disappearing. So hopefully we find some new flash creatures for the future. But for now, if you wanted to play this deck, highly recommend it. I've been having a blast with it, and obviously having some pretty good results with this one. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Sarangi Ipuna, and I will see all of you wonderful people, as always, in the next one. Bye-bye.